It was early spring when the young monk approached the old gardener. He found him tending to the temple gardens, carefully raking patterns into the fine gravel around the stones. "Wise teacher," asked the monk, "I have been pondering the nature of the soul. How does one nurture the soil of the spirit?" The old man continued raking. "Like tending a garden, one must cultivate with patient care." "But what of wild weeds that strangle the blossoms?" asked the monk. "How does one overcome what chokes the soul?" The gardener paused and looked up. "By understanding that the weeds too are part of the garden, with insight into their nature, they may reveal their gift." The monk furrowed his brow. "I do not grasp your meaning." The gardener leaned on his rake. "Come sit with me a while. Together we will pull the weeds, spreading no seeds. Then you may understand." The monk obliged and knelt among the stones. For a time the two worked in silence. The monk carefully removed the small green shoots creeping across the gravel, discarding them in a pile. As he worked, he studied each weed closely, the fuzzy stems, the delicate roots, the tender leaves unfurling. He noticed how the weeds and the moss grew indiscriminately between the rocks, softening the hard edges. They added texture and variation to the garden's canvas. The monk spoke. "Teacher, I think I understand. The weeds are neither good nor bad, they simply exist. By seeing them as part of the whole, even what chokes may contain wisdom." The gardener nodded. "Like the weeds, our impulses arise unbidden from the soil of the mind. By observing them with compassion, we need not be ruled by them." "But tell me," asked the monk, "if we let all weeds grow freely, would they not swallow the garden?" But total inaction may invite different weeds. The middle path requires discernment to nurture what is wholesome and limit what is not." The monk bowed his shaven head. "Your insight nourishes my soul. I will contemplate the balance you suggest." They continued working as the sun traveled across the sky. The monk became aware of the ache in his knees and stiffness in his back. He noticed how his mind started to wander, no longer focused on the task. As he worked slower, the gardener spoke again. "Do not cling too tightly to insights. Hold ideas like gentle pebbles, not crushing them into dust." The monk pondered this, relaxing his grip on the notions swirling in his mind. He felt the crisp air, smelled the fresh earth, heard birds chirping in the maples. When the last of the weeds were cleared, the gardener stood with some effort, joints creaking. He surveyed the garden, now neatly combed and peaceful. "Come, let us take tea by the pond," said the gardener. "The soul's garden requires regular rest, just as the body does." The monk rose and followed him across the tranquil grounds. He felt a deep sense of clarity, as if the act of gardening had tilled and turned over the soil of his own mind. Insights budded like the first cherry blossoms of spring. As they sipped steaming tea, the gardener spoke once more. "Do not become attached even to insights. Hold them lightly. Nurture the soil. Give space for growth. This is the art of gardening." The monk nodded slowly. "I understand. True wisdom is not static but flows like water, gently penetrating the cracks." "Indeed, and remember, all gardens have cycles. What withers makes way for rebirth. Be patient." They finished their tea in silence as the last rays of sunlight faded over the pines. When the stars emerged, the monk bowed deeply to the gardener. "I am grateful for your lessons. My soul has been nourished." The old man chuckled. "I have only reminded you of what you already knew. Look within, and you will find the gardener." The monk returned to his cell, heart filled with tranquility. While sweeping the floor, he noticed a tiny weed pushing through a crack. Lovingly, he left it to grow. This is Narrative Dreamscape. Thanks for watching.